everyone. Welcome back to Relax with Animal Facts. I am Steph Wolf, and today I am going to be learning with you about our furry, scaly, or possibly even slimy friends. And in today's case, it is definitely going to be a scaly friend of ours because we are covering the oh so wonderful Western Hognose Snake. This, of course, is a very special listener episode dedicated to Kai, Isis, Adrienne. This, of course, is a very special listener episode dedicated to Kai, Isis, Adrienne, Ebba, Lay, Liam, and Lilu. Thank you all so much for requesting this awesome creature, and I hope you enjoy your very own episode. Now, as per our new tradition, I am going to ask you a question for you guys to answer on Spotify. I realized the other day that we never did a Q&A for the 200th episode. We're over something like 210 or 215. I'm pretty sure I asked the questions on Instagram. Perhaps I just forgot. And so the question for this week is simply an Ask Me Anything. Get to know me more as a host, as we have been doing this together for 5 years, and the last Q&A was quite some time ago. So simply ask whatever question you'd like to get to know me more, and I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. For those of you who don't listen on Spotify but would still like to ask me a question, you can send me an email at relaxwithanimalfacts@gmail.com. Just make sure to put Q&A in there somewhere, or question, or some kind of keyword. You can also send me a Q&A message on Instagram, and so there are a few options. I thank all of you for your diligent participation in the comment section on Spotify. It's so awesome to see so many of you responding, and quite oftentimes making me chuckle, so thank you. If you would like to get more of the show while supporting it and helping it run, you can go to patreon.com/relaxwithanimalfacts. And my final shout out is for George Vlad. It is his audio work that allows us to go everywhere that we go. His work is in the description, and I encourage you to check him out. And now, let us begin to wind down a little bit. If this is your first ever episode of this show, I welcome you to the Animal Podcast family with open arms. I don't know how you found the show, but however you did, I welcome you, and I'm so glad you have many more adventures to get through. And if you are joining me on an adventure not for the first time, you know exactly what I am going to be asking of you. I have 3 primary exhortations for you before we go on this adventure. I would say all of them are important, but some more than others. My first encouragement to you is that you put on a pair of hiking shoes. You are certainly going to be needing those for where we are going today. My second encouragement is arguably the most important. It is to realize perhaps where you are carrying some tension and to do your best to simply let it go. It can be a little bit difficult to go on these journeys together when we are stiff as a board. And so, I always say, we are aiming to become Jello. Jello is just the perfect amount of tension where it can still wiggle around and it is somewhat free, but it's just tense enough to not become a straight up liquid. So choose a color or flavor of Jell-O that you like and do your best Oscar award-winning impression of it. If you don't know really how to become Jell-O, maybe you don't know where you carry tension, this is completely understandable, and I have an antidote for you. This is a sort of full body scan whereby as you scan up your body, you relax as you go. So you would start in your mind maybe from the bottom of your feet, or if you want to mix it up, you can go top to bottom. You can start from the top of the head, relaxing all of those face and jaw muscles, then perhaps the neck, then the shoulders, the arms, and down, all the way until you get to the bottom of the feet. This way, the whole body becomes Jell-O, and you can learn how sometimes you carry tension. A little bit of a callback to the previous episodes. I have a green tea with me here. Not actually chamomile, which is what I used to drink a lot on the show. I still have some. I just decided on green tea today. For those of you that are unaware of this reference, early on in the show, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, teas would make an appearance all the time. I would take a little tea break, maybe slurp a little louder than I should, and so this is a callback to our roots. If you have a tea, we're basically drinking it together. Here's an answer to one of the possible Q&A questions. How do I like my tea or my coffee? The answer is black. I do not mind bitter at all. But before we get too off track, let's go to our third primary exhortation, which is to give your mind permission to wander and journey with me onto a plain in southern Canada where the Western Hognose Snake resides. Welcome everyone to my home. We have been to Canada quite a few times, not nearly as much as Australia or perhaps South America or Africa, but Canada does have some interesting stuff. Besides some really amazing creatures, we have some of the world's most expensive phone bills, 2 massive internet companies that are run by dung beetles, and some pretty amazing environments. But we're not only here for the environment or for dung beetles, we are here looking for the Western Hognose Snake. Now this is its common name. Its scientific name is Heterodon platyrinos. The former portion of that name is a combination of 2 Greek roots, heteros and odon. The former portion of the scientific name is comprised of 2 Greek roots, heteros and odon. Heteros meaning different or other, while odon means tooth. So together it would be other tooth or different tooth. The platyrinos portion of their scientific name is a combination of platus and ris, 2 Greek words that mean broad or flat, and nose. So without even looking at a picture of this creature, So just from their scientific name, without even looking at their photo, we know this is a snake with different teeth and a flat nose, and we will see how accurate this is in a moment. The hognose snake is one of up to 5 non-venomous snake species found in North America that belong to a particular family, known as the Colubridae family. Now, there are a few different kinds of hognose snake. There is the Eastern hognose, the Western hognose, and the Southern hognose. Each of these deserve an episode in their own right, which is why I have gone quite specific in going for the Western hognose snake. Just so we have a sense of the geography, the most extensively dispersed species are actually the Eastern hognose, which live in eastern North America, while the Western hognose lives mostly on the Great Plains, ranging from southern Canada to central Mexico. Both of these species are heavy-bodied and blotchy, reaching lengths ranging from 60 to 80 centimeters, about 23.6 to 31.5 inches. The southern hognose snake ranges from southern Louisiana to southern North Carolina and south to central Florida. This is the smaller of the bunch, reaching a maximum length of 61 centimeters or 24 inches. There is also the Mexican hognose snake and the dusty hognose snake. There are some that will consider these two extra forms as totally separate species, but others will often classify these or both under the Western hognose. I'm no researcher or expert, and so I'm kind of indifferent. But the point is, there are some different hognose snakes out there. The Western hognose snake, which is the version, I suppose, of this snake we are learning about today, is a solitary creature and a diurnal reptile. If we remember what the word diurnal means, that's great. In case some of you don't know or have forgotten, diurnal describes a pattern of behavior in which an animal is awake during the daytime. Most of us, for example, are diurnal. If you work a night shift, perhaps you would like to classify yourself as nocturnal. But the Western hognose snake spends the day looking for food or resting in burrows dug by other tiny mammals. These snakes are generally docile. They are not too dangerous. If they are attacked or they are afraid of being attacked, they may flatten their neck, similar to a cobra, making a mock or bluff strike with their mouths closed, and they will certainly let you know that they are unhappy, hissing all about, for example. But even when further harassed, the Western hognose snake has quite the bit of patience. They will rarely bite in self-defense, and they choose frequently to play dead. And it is worth mentioning that it is more normal for them to do that flattening head behavior. There are some Western hognoses that may puff out and fill their throats with air. This will happen more commonly among the adolescent males. And so, despite the fact they can put on quite a show that is scary and can alarm you, they really can look like a cobra, they are in fact harmless. They're non-venomous and quite temperate. And even when the hognose is delivering those warning shots or warning strikes, it's frequently with their mouth closed, frequently even missing the target. So if anyone doesn't like snakes, this seems like the snake for you. The behaviors between the Western and the Eastern hognose are a little different. I'm not going to get too deep into the other kinds of hognoses. That is for a future episode. So one thing that is a little hard to avoid is their name, Hognose Snake. We usually leave the name stuff for the end, but this seems a bit on the nose, if I can use a pun. It is named in this way because it has an upturned pig-like snout. This characteristic that makes them very much stand out from the rest is extremely important to the snake's foraging habits, which allows it to dig up its prey a lot quicker. They have a little bit of a strange diet. Most snakes, of course, eat things like rodents and other small mammals, but the hognose has, let's say, an exotic diet, maybe a more refined palate. They're known to consume things like toads, frogs, and even other snakes. And their upturned snouts is not only for hunting, they will use that snout to dig through sand and soft soil, forming those burrows that they frequently share with other snakes. How would you like a snake that digs? That is pretty cool. And they come in a variety of colors. Hognoses are very commonly associated with that brown or beige color, which there are a lot like that, but they can occur in a wide range of patterns and colors, ranging from a bright red or orange to a gray or black. If you can recall the scientific name, the first portion of it described something like other tooth, referring to them having teeth unlike other snakes. And this seems to be the case. Hognose snakes are rear-fanged. It means they have their teeth near the back of their jaws. And so their whole scientific name, meaning a snake that is flat-nosed and differently toothed or other-toothed in some way, really makes sense. The amazing thing is I've lived here all my life, and I have admittedly never seen a hognose snake. I haven't really got up close enough to different snakes to look at their noses. I was never really the kid to go out and look for snakes, but I'm still pretty sure I've never seen one. One really cool thing about the hognose snake is their ability to feed on those toads. Frequently, toads will have skin secretions that are not good for whatever is eating it. The poison can sometimes be fatal or at least causing the animal that ate them to throw them up. But hognose snakes are equipped with a way to physiologically neutralize those harmful skin secretions. This might be similar to, let's say, a different kind of badger that is used to the venom of snakes. This allows them to hunt a lot more efficiently, or at least with less danger involved. Western hognose snakes will seek mates soon after emerging from their underground winter burrows. So in Canada, where our winter ends sometime in late July, I'm just kidding, in this case it is in early June, the female will be laying between 4 to 50 eggs in a shallow hole in loose or sandy soil. So if they are laying eggs in early June, I imagine they are emerging from their underground winter burrows sometime before then. The juvenile snakes hatch from these eggs in approximately 60 days and must immediately fend for themselves. There is no parental care involved. Hognose snakes don't read any parenting books. They don't buy strollers. They don't buy cribs. Immediately they must go out into the world and learn. But these animals, like most others, are very thoroughly equipped with good instincts. They don't need to be taught to perhaps play dead or inflate their body or to make faux strikes. These are things that run through the fibers of their being. I find instinctual behavior to be quite fascinating, especially for those behaviors which are not immediately obvious as to their utility. One thing on the Patreon that we all learned about was the courtship rituals or mating displays of birds. Some of these are dances that come in 5 or 6 steps, and they don't need to be taught these dances. They just do them at a certain age. The animal kingdom sure is a beautiful and exciting thing, and once in a while, at least once per week, let's say, when we go on these adventures together, I think it is a really important exercise to train those awe muscles, to intentionally think about these things, marinate in them, and it allows us to slowly get a more clear and more wonderful picture of the animal world. But going back to the hog-nosed snake, they are entirely terrestrial. That is, they spend their time on the land, but they can and do, time to time, enter the water when traveling between habitats. So they can indeed swim, but generally don't. If you are out in the Great Plains of southern Canada, you might find them under plants or logs or in shallow burrows in sandy soil. Again, I am pretty much never just going out of my way to try to find a snake, but if I ever see one, I'll try to look at their nose. It will at least maybe comfort me when trying to walk by them. In terms of their mating habits, they have a mating system known as polygynandry. This means that both the males and the females will have many partners. They will mate in the springtime, and females will again lay those eggs from June until August. If the hognose snake finds a prey item that is slightly too large, perhaps a huge toad of some kind, it may refuse to eat whatever that large prey item is until it has decomposed sufficiently to fit into their mouth. They got time to wait, I guess, and so they'll wait for the natural world to do its thing in terms of decomposition before they go in for the meal. Does that make them picky eaters? I'm not sure. Maybe it just makes them responsible eaters for all I know, but still a cool fact nonetheless. Like pretty much every other animal, these snakes are crucial parts of their ecosystems. They control the populations of local creatures like those frogs and toads, other snakes, rodents. So these snakes are here to help us. They provide a natural bit of pest control and at really no cost to you, apart from maybe you being scared if you walk past them. As we've learned, they're not really capable of doing much damage to you. And as far as snakes go, I'll say this one is pretty darn cute. The last fact of the episode is usually dedicated to the name, but due to the obvious nature of this animal's name, we can't really do that. What we can, however, do is cover the word snake. What does it mean, or where does it come from? This is actually a Middle English word that has gone through many different phases. It came from Old English, then Proto-Germanic, and it comes from the Proto-Indo-European root sneg, which means to crawl or creeping thing. And these creatures certainly crawl on their bellies, which makes this make sense. And now, as is our tradition, allow me to tell you a dad joke about this animal. You guys like it, and so I will very happily continue to ruin your day with a dad joke that makes your skin crawl. And so, check this out. A snake walks into a bar. The bartender says, "How'd you do that?" I actually really like that one. It's so simple and so stupid. It actually doesn't give me any goosebumps at all, but I think it very aptly fits the category of a dad joke. Perhaps this is the epitome of dad jokes. But anyways, I have some of your responses to answer on Spotify. I asked you guys, if you could have any animal ability, what ability and from which animal would you choose it? Meg answered, spitting blood from eyeballs at my enemies like the bearded dragon. There were actually 2 of you that wanted this ability. I mean, if you were to be a superhero with this ability, what would your name be? I can't imagine you'd be a very popular superhero among the general public. I think most people would simply ask why, but I think it's a pretty hilarious answer. Starfall piled on and said, either the cat's ability to be super sneaky and agile, or powered flight from pretty much any animal. That's a good answer. I suppose if you had the cat's ability, maybe it would make you really good in certain sports, maybe gymnastics or something. And flying is pretty obvious. Han or Han says, I would want the abilities of a truffle pig. I have no reasons other than I flipping love truffles and also pigs. You see, the first thing that comes to my mind if I was offered any superpower would be the power to throw my nose in the dirt. Again, if they were to make like a comic book series of you with this superpower, if they were to call it Truffle Man or Truffle Woman, and a supervillain were to come and do some diabolical plot, a team of superheroes gets together and they ask you, what can you do? And you say, well, I can find truffle. I don't know if they would take your resume, but it does mean that you could have some pretty good lunches and dinners. You wouldn't have to pay for truffles. Maybe you could start a truffle business. The possibilities are endless when it comes to smelling dirt. It's worth mentioning that pretty much all of you had a fantastic answer, so thank you all for answering. Now let us move to the review portion of the show on Apple Podcasts, and Habilis YT, or YouTube maybe, is writing all the way from Australia, and Habilis writes, this show is not only relaxing but very interesting. Have you done an episode on orange-bellied parrots? I don't think I have. If you could, I would love it. But episodes are nowadays random, and I would like to know when episodes are published. thank you, Stefan, for this amazing and unique podcast. I love them too. Thank you, Habilis, for the very kind review, for the suggestion, and for the question. Episodes are posted weekly on Wednesdays, although I have had trouble posting them at the exact same time. Sometimes instead of at 2 a.m. EST, I'll post it at 8 or 10, but in general, episodes are always posted on a Wednesday. I am thinking of changing the schedule to a Tuesday, however, and if I do, I'll post an announcement on the show. If you are a listener on Spotify, make sure to participate in the Q&As or to the comment section. If you are a listener on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review. And no matter what platform you are listening on, make sure you are following it or subscribed to it so you know when new episodes come out. I love communicating with you guys, and so doing all of those things is awesome. This show is for you, and so I want to know what you think, what you would like in future episodes, and etc. If you would like to request an animal for a future episode, you can do so by going to relaxwithanimalfacts.com and going to the Submit and Animal Request tabs. To reach out to me, Steph Wolf, for any other reason, you can send me an email at relaxwithanimalfacts@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on the Instagram, which is also Relax with Animal Facts. By the way, I am planning on doing a giveaway. We have done so many episodes and I don't think I did one, and so I would like to. I'll keep you guys posted on the podcast. A huge shout out to George Vlad for the ambiances used in today's episode. His work is linked in the description and you should check him out. The facts used in this episode came from Britannica.com, ReptileSupershow.com, Animalia.bio, Cat'sEyePest.com, and etimonline.com. What an amazing animal we have learned about today, the Western Hognose Snake, and I'm so glad that there are other hognose snakes that we will have the chance to learn about as well. A very unique snake, a temperate snake, a non-dangerous, well, at least to us, snake. I was really looking forward to doing this one, and I'm so happy I have had the opportunity to learn about them with you. I look forward to our next adventure together with the next animal. Take care.